Well, from heat stroke to sunburn to the basic stomach bug, there's a lot that can impact our health in the summertime. But when do you need to think about going to a doctor, and when will a teledoc visit work? Joining me now to talk about this is Dr. Tiffany Hendricks from Telehealth. Good morning, Dr. Hendricks.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on this day.
Well, thank you for being here. And you know, the first thing I want to ask you about, because a lot of people I think don't always realize that this is a resource. Can you tell me about Telehealth, what it's for, and how people can take advantage of it?
Yes, most certainly. With Teladoc, it is a telemedicine company. So that means you can see a doctor over the computer or on the phone. It just allows things to be more convenient, is what it does. Allowing you to be able to connect with someone when it's the easiest, thing you can do when you're at home by yourself or when you're in the car in between your visits at work.
And that's such a good resource for people. And one of the phrases that you all use is virtual first, not virtual only. So can you also speak to why primary care is also so important?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Now, there are actually plenty of articles that note that having a primary care provider in the community adds to the longevity, how long we live. So yeah, we're needed. We're pretty much needed. And having Teladoc and even some other telemedicine companies allowing us to be able to reach those people, to at least start the conversations, get them set up with preventative visits, mammograms, colonoscopy screenings, even just their gynecology visits. Having somebody to talk to that has some information to help you go the route way instead of kind of bouncing around specialist to specialist, hugely important. And when we say virtual first, we're meaning that first conversation, that first getting to know you, which is the big, huge thing you get with a primary care provider, and getting you to the specialist. That's our next step. If there's something we need to do to get you in for an in-person exam, we have the care team that facilitates that process pretty streamlessly.
And talking, turning back to such a big deal for us today, the heat. Texans, we know this is a thing. We know we have people who move to our area who may be like, what is this? It is summer, only the start of the heat. What do our viewers need to know about preparing for the heat that's just going to keep coming?
Yes, I saw that. That's a lot. You got all those people walking in that Freedom Festival. That's huge. Biggest thing I think people don't pay attention to is, now we know about the sunscreen, but your clothing matters. Your clothing is huge. There's actually UV ratings for the type of material you wear. So being mindful of that, and obviously not having all your skin exposed is actually the better way to go. Most of us like to get half dressed when it gets hot. That actually is not the best way. So you can actually go to www.comforSkinCancer.org, and it'll list the types of materials that are better for that heat, those high ratings. Now, of course, sunscreen, everybody knows that. We want to do at least an SPF of 30 and above. And then for certain medical conditions, you may want to talk to your primary care provider and make sure that hydrating more is okay, but definitely keeping up your water. Huge, huge. The more you sweat, the more you lose water, so you need to put more back in.
And Dr. Hendricks, one more question for you, especially for people who may be used to it and may not have their guard where they should. What are those illnesses and ailments that people should kind of look out for that would be a good indicator that they need to go to the doctor?
Oh, just period. Okay. Now, just in the heat, some of your heart conditions can't handle too much water. It's kind of more of where I was referring to with that. But yes, chronic diabetes or symptoms to where you're urinating a lot. I mean, honestly, I tell my family members and people I know, anytime you're experiencing symptoms that you can't figure out or, you're spending too long thinking about it, you need to talk to a provider about it to try to help you figure out which way to go.
Dr. Hendricks, thank you so much for your time. Such valuable information, especially as we get into those hot summer days. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.